plus you get to meet other suitors in the fursuit lounge. You get water, and then you get to go out there, and it appears that you are the most amazing suitor ever. Because really, nobody notices when you go and take a break. They just think that they haven't seen you in a little bit. So like you've been around just like over there or something, hidden in the masses. And so you come back and you're still super energetic, and they're like, that is the coolest fursuiter. They are always so energetic. Or, you know, they're always up for playing their character. Because you don't have to be super bouncy or whatever. You can be like the big grumpy mean fursuit and stuff. But that still takes, you know, it still takes energy. You still have to like be able to do that. So, yeah.
I've also noticed a few times I've seen it personally. I've only done it like twice. It's like a workout.
Yeah, no, it is. I consistently, after con, I at a minimum have lost 3 pounds every time I go to a con. Mostly because you're losing a lot of water weight when you do fursuiting stuff, but it's also just like, it's a really big stamina workout for all of your muscles, because it just takes a lot to really deal with that, especially for long periods of time. Sit down for part 2. Yay! This is going to be how to be a handler. So, for those of you that do not know me, I am Faye V. I am a fursuiter. This is the head of my fursuit. This is the head of my fursuit. Yeah, I am super, super graceful as well. Yeah, so I do a lot of fursuiting. I work with kids and things. I do a lot of fursuiting outside of the gym and stuff. And I like to come to cons and just explain to people some of the stuff that you don't really get when people like to talk about all of the super duper fun stuff. So safety and handlers, especially handlers, because handlers don't get enough love. Handlers are so super important. They are essential to good fursuiting, and they do not get enough love. So this is just how to be a good handler, how to find a good handler, all of the things that go into it, so that you can go off and suit and have somebody that really helps you out with it, and you're going to have a great time. So the first thing, this is going to be directed towards handlers, so if you're just a fursuiter, that's cool too. You can still use all the information. But when you are being a handler, so you have somebody that has a giant animal costume that says, I would like you to join me in this adventure. You're going to want to do a couple things. First, you want to learn about what the limits of your fursuiter are, because fursuits, they got a lot of limitations. You have a lot of padding, maybe not necessarily, like the fur is a lot between you and the outside world. So fursuiters cannot hear very well. For my own head, the distance between my ear and the outside world is about that much of foam. I do not hear things well in suit. And just the way that the suit is designed, how the ventilation works, where the sound comes in and how it gets to me is very different. So while normally you're a cool human being and your ears are like, I can pinpoint sounds using vibrations in the air, so I know where stuff is. As a fursuiter, that is a lot harder to do. It's just a lot harder to pinpoint stuff. So you cannot hear very well. You can't see very well. So my eyes, I cannot see right in front of my face. There is a huge blind spot there. I can see about this far. And that's a pretty decent field of vision for a fursuit. I can't see anything under my nose. So when I'm fursuiting, about anything from here to, if it is right in front of me or under my nose, I won't see it until about that chair. And so things like curbs and things on the ground, stuff like that, when I'm walking around and there's a curb, I have to see it coming and then figure out when to step up, because I will not see it unless I look straight down when I'm walking. Can't feel things very well. It's super duper duper hot. Poor Ouija bet over there, if you saw him, had to go take his head off because it's super hot. No, stay back there. Yeah, okay, good. He's super, super hot in there. So it takes a lot of that. There's just a lot of things. So a fursuiter is not, the average person that can fend for themselves. They are tiny stuffed animal people that need your help. And that's why handlers are super important. So a handler is just somebody out of suit that is there to make sure that the fursuiter is taken care of. They're not in any kind of danger. They're getting water. They know where things are. Basically, they're the person there that's like, you can't feel or see or hear things. I will do that for you. And together we will make one functional, adorable person. So knowing the limits is really, really important. If your fursuiter, if you can fit your head in the fursuiter's head, it's usually a good idea to put the fursuit head on just to get an idea of what they can see and can't see. I've done that with people that are handlers for me often, and then they get an idea, like, there's certain things because of the way the eyes are made. There's times where if sunlight hits it just right, it glares out the entire thing and I can't see anymore. I will go fully cannot see blind when that happens. And so being aware of stuff like that. Yeah. Once you have that, the next thing you want to do is have a good idea of where you're going to be with your fursuit. So at cons, it's super easy. There's con layouts, and honestly, everybody at a con, well, not everybody, but most people at a con know what's up. They know about fursuiters. They're there to help. Nobody wants to see a dead fursuiter. It's really sad. Yeah. Well, I mean, the fursuit kind of keeps it in, so it's not that messy, but it is super sad. So at cons, it's a little easier, especially because there is security staff and staff there to make sure that everybody's okay. But especially when you are outside of the convention, you definitely want to know where you are going and know where things are. So when I fursuit at home, our fur meets would take place in a mall. Something to know as a handler. Do not go fursuiting at a mall. Do not go fursuiting on any private property without getting permission first. Because fursuits, while adorable, you need to be aware, and your fursuiter should be aware of this as well. They should cover it in suiting outside the fandom. This is cute, but it is the equivalent of wearing a ski mask and a trench coat into a place. And so the rule is, if you cannot wear it into some place with a trench coat and a ski mask, don't try to do it in suit. So, we got special permission to do the mall things and everything, and the people that were handlers there, before I even got into suit and went there, we went there out of suit to know where the bathrooms were, where I could get water, what areas that we would be in, and where I would be able to leave. So it's called escape routes, and all of this information, I'm sorry, sounds super dramatic. Like, we sound like spies, just like we have to canvass the area. We have to know our resources. But it's really, really important, because it's better to know than not. And there are going to be times, like, there's a lot of people, and maybe your fursuiter is getting a little taut and needs to be able to, like, leave or something. If the one way that you have to get out has, like, 20 people in a mass block, and there is no way you can get through that, that's not good. So you just want to make sure that if your fursuiter has to take their head off, or needs a break, or needs to rest, you know a way for them to get away from people and be able to do that. So it's really, really important, just as preparation stuff, have an idea of where you're going to be, have an idea of where water is going to be, make sure that you're kind of aware of the area. So, like, right now there's a bunch of people at the door. If it were a lot crowdeder, a good handler would know there's also a door back there. And so if I could get out through here with my fursuit, I could go to the other door. So it's just stuff like that. Positioning! Yay! Are you okay? Generally, when you're with a fursuiter, you're going to be walking around in things because they do that. Yeah, I know it's weird, but fursuiters, they walk around and they do silly things. And they joke and they interact with people.
Much younger and recognized.
A big part about being a handler, part of the reason they don't get enough love, they don't get noticed. They're like cool safety ninjas. So it's stuff like that, where he needed to get out of there and try to get past all of this technical equipment. So being a handler is just being aware, like, hey, you can't see that well. I'll help move him and do things. So positioning is really, really important because it's not enough to just be around. You have to be able to see your fursuiter and see what is going on around them because you're the eyes that they don't have. There you go. Now you're pretty. All right. Okay. So positioning. Here we have the fursuiter. You guys are the crowd. I know this is going to be a hard role for you, but if I'm going to be a handler, the best places to be when you are a handler is going to be something like back here. So I'm at his corner, his back corner. And that's important because I can see all of you and I can see him. So if somebody, you for instance, were to come and want to interact with my fursuiter, is that okay? Okay. Oh. So yeah, we have a wonderful person here that's like, oh hey, just be, a little nice, he's happy to hug, just, There you go, gentle, yay! Awesome. So like I could see that, and if somebody's coming up, like they're gonna just be like, yeah, woo! And you just be like, oh hey, just a little gentle. Yeah, and they're just like, okay, yeah, gentle, I can be nice. Most people, they don't want to hurt the fursuiter. They're not there to just be like, I'm going to mess up their day. They just don't understand. So it's somebody, they see something big and plush and soft, and they're like, I will treat that like a stuffed animal. And that hurts. That hurts when you are the person inside. It does hurt on the inside. So you want to be back here. You don't want to be directly behind your fursuiter because now I cannot see what is happening over here. Now I can't see anything. There's tiny children all up in here about to take you out, and I'm just like,
And they're delicious.
yeah. Another thing that you can do is just being like right here. So something within arm's length of your fursuiter is really good. Now, when they're out and frolicking and it's kind of an open area, you can. They're like pets, so you can go let them. Like it is, you really just need to treat them like a dog on a leash. So if they have an open area and friends to play with, feel free, let them go. Go have fun, Pat. And now he's making friends with it. But come here. All right. When you're walking somewhere with them or something like that, so he's trying to go somewhere, it's perfectly fine to do something like this. You may not be able to see what's going on behind you that much, but depending on your cons, it's not a big deal. But arm length is always great because that gives him space to do his thing. If he wants to be like, hi, I'm a bat to somebody, like that's cool. If he just wants to wave and not do the hand thing, he can hold up his hands, he can do stuff, and I'm not like running into him because he can't see me, because that happens. Fursuiters aren't trying to be mean, we just can't see, so you get like taken out in a swing, sorry. And if you're a fursuiter that has something like this, you need to be aware, especially if you're a handler, just like the length that they can be, that's the knowing your limitations part. As far as positioning goes, if you have two handlers for one fursuiter, that's even better than one handler for one fursuiter. Something that you kind of want to do with that is it is great to have somebody that's kind of back here that can just keep an eye out. And then you can have somebody that is even in front of them, because now my fursuiter can see where we're going if we're trying to walk somewhere. He can see what is safe, what the right path is. Because if there's stuff like this chair here, he can just follow me, and the chair's over there. It's not a problem. But if you're just by yourself, you don't want to be in front of your fursuiter. Because if I'm trying to do that, like we're going to go this way. If we're doing that, somebody could go and just be like, I'm going to interact with him, and I don't see that. So now the poor thing, you've been tackled. I'm sorry. I feel you. It's the worst. So just remember, like, the important bit is not only do you want to see your fursuiter, you want to be able to see the people that intend to interact with them. And that's going to be the biggest job that a handler has, is controlling the interaction with the fursuiters. Which again, sounds super dramatic. Like, you have to plan this out, be on walkie-talkies, just like, stuff's going down, I see a bogey at 12 o'clock. No, that's not how it goes, but it's things like when I'm out and about with my handlers and there's like a small child that's around and maybe they're over here and I don't really see them, then they can just be like, hey, get over there. And then they can interact with them. If I see somebody coming, and you can read body language really, really easily, there's going to be people that want nothing to do with a fursuiter, and they will walk around like you do not exist. I promise you it's the most amazing thing where it is like this existential denial of something existing. They just walk around where it's like, not happening, no. Those aren't people that you want to run up to and like, yeah, let's play with the fursuit. They don't want anything to do with it. And that's okay, because there's going to be plenty of people that are like, and they'll want to interact with the fursuiter and do stuff. So you'll see people coming. If you see people coming from a point, like, if you look ahead, if they're coming from like over here or behind or something, he can't see me when I'm right here, so. Another good reason to stay within about an arm's length is if he's walking, just walk forward. Oh, hey, you want to watch out for that right there. So you can just reach out and touch their hand and pause them really quickly. So again, they're like safety ninjas, because when you get really, really used to your handlers and things, we barely, like, I don't talk in suit, and with my handler, I don't have to. Because there's things where they've learned that if they just go like this, they're trying to get my attention. If they go like this and touch my shoulder, they're trying to make me stop, and they'll point something out that I should pay attention to. If they touch the back, oftentimes for me and my handler, that just means that they're there. Because again, if they're in this position back here, and they do something like that while I'm walking or I start walking, that just means, yeah, I'm still with you, we're safe, don't worry about it. So just having that arm's length, so it gives them their space, but you can still do something where it's like, hey, there's danger, don't die. You're welcome. Good ratio for groups. One-on-one is great when it's just you and your fursuiter. If you're going out with a group of people, like with these two adorable puppies over here, you want to come up? Hi, puppies. You're so cute. Look at them. They're adorable. All right. I'm running into stuff. I need a handler. So if it's just me and they're trying to, just, I guess, interact and just kind of do stuff, it's kind of hard if people are trying to come up, like he can't see. I have to know where he can't see, where she can't see, she can't see. That's really hard for one person because they're doing different stuff. So at the very least, you want a one-on-one ratio. For a group, especially if it's like 3, you want 2-to-1. So when you go out in groups, you want to definitely have people that are paying attention, because it's paying attention to the fursuiters themselves and the people around them. The more fursuiters you have, the more people you have coming in. They're magnets for people. So like the more people, the more you want to just have somebody there that's just like, hey, maybe not run at the fursuiter. Just be gentle with them. They break. So yeah. So when I have a group of fursuiters, if it were me and I were running some sort of meet, I'd want at least me and 5 other people. So that's 2 per fursuiter. So then I can do the thing where it's like, if I'm the close fursuiter, I can just be like, there's stuff here, it's cool. And then there's somebody that's just watching the people that are coming to interact with Beth, or coming to interact with our puppies, or something like that. And so if multiple people, like some people are going to be like, pink puppies, yeah. Some people are going to be like, bats are awesome. Now I don't have to pay attention to that.
Aww.
Why don't you hide your shame? There you go. So yeah, you want to have a good ratio for that kind of thing. Now, what is the best ratio? A lot of handlers. When I go out into the city, and the best time I have ever had was when I had 6 handlers to myself, and I promise you, like, they were walking around. I had one person that was at my shoulder, the arm's length away. The one person that's my handler, like, all of the time. And then the other 5 were just like, there was one person here, one person here, one person here, one person here, one person here. And I was like, I can do anything, I will never die. Yeah, it was the Secret Service starter. You guys can go ahead and sit. You should sit. You need to sit. So, I mean, there isn't a best ratio because the more people that are looking out for your fursuiter and are aware that they need to look out for your fursuiter, the better. But realistically, if you get 1-on-1, that's great. 2-on-1, even better. If you are doing a group with more than 3 or more suitors, definitely have a 2-to-1 ratio, especially if you guys are really, really new to it. So the more handlers, the better when you're new. Oh, the next one's hand signals. I lied, you have to get back up. So hand signals are really, really important for fursuiters because, actually, you don't talk, do you? Is there any fursuiter in here that talks? Okay. Hi, you can just say something from there, but say anything.
Anything?
Yeah. So, that was great. Even though you can kind of hear that, fursuits muffle sound. So if you're in the middle of something, like everybody's interacting, trying to talk and stuff, you might not be able to hear them very well, especially if they're further away from you or something like that. Like, they were off and playing with their fursuit friends and then something happens. So you want to have hand signals because that's going to get the messages across really, really easily. If you don't have a fursuiter that talks, it is all the more important. So the biggest one is, I am in danger, I need help, get me out of here. This is the something bad has happened, I need to go. So it's like this, or like this. Not yay, but it has to be closed palms. Because people don't do this, they do this. And so you're telling the difference between, woo, fun stuff is happening, and I'm done. If they are shorter, you want to have the signal as high as they can do it. So some people, it's hard to do. Faye, I can't always get my hands up like that. I certainly can't cross them like that. But having it up as high as you can, something like this, then they can see it. Because I'm small, in suit, I am not well seen. I made a joke about this last panel, but there is a reason I wear a bell when I fursuit. And it's not entirely because it's cute. It's because if I go like this while wearing the bell, I can be found in a group. But yeah, so this means I need help, this means I need help. Crossing is better than not, but both of them will work. And people know what that means. So at furry cons, if somebody's doing that, people will immediately go in to help. Another one, water, is this. I just completely lost my mind. Head off. So I need to take my head off. It's just a pantomime taking the head off. I need a break. This one I learned last time. Break. So, I mean, there is some preference to it. So it's just what you want to work out with your handler. So if you do something where it's like, to me, that would mean I broke something. So if I'm trying to like, it's happened before. I've broken stuff on my fursuit. I've broken my feet before. That was unfortunate. Oh, I also broke my tail once. It came out. That was unfortunate. Because there's a big hole back there for the tail. So something like that, that would mean like I broke something, we need to go get, like I need to go fix it. I need to go improve myself. Oh yeah, I can't see, I'll do like that. So that's one personal to me, that my handlers know I don't do that very often. But I have a tendency with my balaclava, sometimes it'll slip down over my eyes, and I literally cannot see anymore. If I'm working, then it's something where like, I have a little bit of vision that's a tiny, tiny pinprick enough to know what is right in front of my feet, and that's it. The rest I'm operating blind. So if I go like that, that means that I can't see, so it's not just, we're gonna go to the Headless Lounge. It's something where it's like, all right, let's do it. I am very, very close so that we can make sure, even though let's pretend he can't see, it's something where I can just guide the action. So that's one that I picked up because it started happening too much. Hot is just this. So even if somebody has no idea about fursuit hand signals, this is something that people automatically do when they're hot. So if your fursuiter starts doing that, it means they're hot, even if they don't really realize that they're doing it. I use this one because, particularly with my head, I can't hear things very well. So if I pick up a sound where I don't know what it is and I go like that, then my handler knows to explain what it is. What is another one? That one's pretty basic. Picture. So I want to take a picture or something. Or if you're the handler and you're trying to get attention of your fursuiter to show that there's a picture, sometimes they might not hear it. Or it might be hard to, there's just a lot of stuff going on. It's a lot of sensory overload sometimes. So just having somebody go like that, it's like, oh, somebody wanted a picture, cool. Eh. All right, now we got pose. Yeah. Are there any other ones that you do that are super common?
My sister does for time.
Oh, right, time. That's a good one, because you don't really have watches that much. So, time. I mean, there's always pointing. You guys are probably aware of this gesture and what it means. It occurs a lot in fursuiting. I want that. What is that? Pointing is the greatest of gestures. Oh, I can't think of many others. This one comes up for me because I do suiting outside the fandom. So oftentimes when I do that, my handler will do that because that means you heard a car. And then they'll point to where it is. Because it's happened before, cars go by and they can be scary because they can go by really fast or really close. Or sometimes there's people that want to drive up close and like yell things at you. Not bad things, they're excited. The vast amount of the time I've had really positive interactions when I'm out fursuiting, no matter where I am. I've been to like Montana, I've done it in Michigan. The vast majority of people are like, that's cool! Or they're the type of person where it's like, I don't really want anything to do with that. You're not really dealing with anybody that's just like, I want to really mess that person up. Now, there are cases where that's happened. Usually it's when somebody is fursuiting alone, and then you're going to get the kind of person that's like, this person can't defend themselves. But that's okay, because you're a handler, you're there, and it really does not happen that often. Because as soon as there's one other person that's just like, I am also here, then like they are essentially cowards. They're doing it because they think they can get away with it, and that the person can't defend themselves. So as soon as there is one other person, and it does not matter, I've done it myself, and I am not that big. I am not super intimidating, especially like, these are just like, I did it with a couple teenage boys that were like, there's a fursuiter, and I just was like, hey, and they're just like, you're not gonna get a huge, like, you're not gonna get a lot of confrontations and stuff, but just having somebody there is really, really important. Because, one, you can help your fursuiter out. Like, you do not realize how many tiny things add up. Like, pointing out curbs, pointing out tables. There's so many times. I used to have a tail. I had to get rid of it because I couldn't stand it anymore. It was a tail that had a backplate that stuck out literally that far from my body. And I knocked over everything in existence. So I had to stop wearing it. But my handler would point out to me that I was about to knock stuff over. So, you know, hey, watch out. the 2 foot of you that sticks out but you don't realize, that's gonna run into something. So, yeah. This came up a lot for a reason, okay? So, it's just really important to have somebody there. I will tell this story again. I told it last time, but it really is my favorite story. I was at Anthrocon, and I made a great many mistakes early on in my life. I wanted to go out. Anthrocon is a wonderful, wonderful convention. Everybody in Pittsburgh loves the furries. I have never seen a place where people are so positive about fursuits. So incredibly positive. So you're like a rock star if you go out in fursuit into the city. I was fursuiting and somebody goes, hey, we want to get something to eat. So I was like, I would like to join. Is it okay if I come in fursuit? Sure. It was a group of people, so there were about 6 of them and then me. It's only a couple blocks away. Okay, that sounds great. I can go a couple blocks and then back. A couple blocks meant 20, none. They added a 0 to that. So that got to the point, I don't know Pittsburgh very well. I can kind of operate around AC. I'll tell you another story after this, because that's also not true. I'm not a good fursuiter. I get stuck really easily in places. Anyway, so several blocks from the hotel. I don't know where I am. I don't know the location of where we are going. I certainly don't know where I can get water anymore. The handlers that were with me, so I had 6 people say, I want to be a handler. 5 of them didn't truly want to be a handler. They wanted to go out with a fursuit, which is all well and good, but those are 2 different things, because one of them is concerned primarily with the fursuiter. And handlers know it's not all about them. The job is to take care of the fursuiter. And if you're a good fursuiter, you will thank your handler so much, because handler is so important. So like all of mine, I buy them a drink. For those of you under 21, I buy them a great soda pop. But you know, you want to make sure, definitely make them know that they're appreciated. But so 5 of them were off and away. I promise you, like my distance to the last of those chairs is how far they were from me at some points.
Wow.
They were not really handlers. But there was one person that was with me, which was very, very good. And he was doing the appropriate thing for positioning, so I couldn't see them. I was walking straight on a sidewalk. He was somewhere by my back shoulder. As I'm walking from across the street, I hear, and I have terrible hearing in Sioux, so this is how loud and clear it was. Somebody yelled, "Foxy!" super loud. And I turn to look, and there is somebody twice my size, a guy running, arms outstretched, full tilt towards me. And so my only reaction was that point was, oh, and curl up slightly, just like, this is how it ends. All right, it's been nice, I've made mistakes, I'm sorry. My life flashed before my eyes, it was mostly boring and dumb. But thankfully, my handler was there, and he stepped up from behind my back shoulder. All he did was, if you'll stand up. So he was somewhere, he was somewhere about here, and he just did something like that, where all he had to do was take one step forward to just be just enough in front of me that, like, that person couldn't possibly full tackle me anymore. And just kind of like squared his shoulders a little bit, like, I'm not going to move, you should stop. And they did. It was a full cartoon screeching halt where they stopped this distance from me. And the person was just like, oh, I'm sorry, I just love foxes, I just really wanted a hug. So that went from, I'm going to die, to, this is nice, let's have a hug. All right. Yeah. And it was all, honestly, because of a step and somebody squaring their shoulders. That's all it took. You can go sit down again if you want. So that's my big story of the time I didn't die. Another instance of handlers are so important. Even if you think you are just the best fursuiter in the world, you know exactly what you're doing. You have great vision. Like, I am super used to my suit. I can go for a while. I am really used to just interacting with stuff, and I can get from here to there pretty easily. At AC, they're super nice. Across from AC is some food places. So it's just the distance of cross a street at a light, and everybody around there is aware that there's lots of people. So it's not like you're being run down by cars, and it's like Mad Max style, fend for yourself. Die glorious, Fury Road, Fury Road, whatever. I had gone and gotten a little bit of food, and all I had to do was walk half a block, go to a light, cross at the green, and then I'm home free. I was there for 30 minutes. I got stuck at the light because I had to watch the light to make sure I could see it to pass properly. People were very, very interested in my suit. They thought it was cute. They just wanted to, interact, hi, can we take pictures? The problem was, when the light wasn't going, people tend to group up. So I'd be in a group, I can't see the light anymore. Those that were gonna go kind of drifted off, and now it's like, oh, the light changed. Well, I'm here. And then I'd wait a couple minutes, and then the light, and it's like another new group, and then the light changed. Until finally, one of the people I was with is like, "You're still here? Why are you that dumb?" And they held my hand like I was a small child, and walked me across the street, and that's why I'm not still at that light to this day. But it's just something like that, where even if it seems the simplest thing, where it is so safe around AC, and you're not gonna have people that are trying to, that don't know what they're doing, or fast cars or anything like that. Just the most well-meaning people. It was my own fault for not having a handler there. Because something so simple as, the light is green, we must go now. Because I don't talk in suits, so explaining, I'm waiting for the light because I don't want to really die in the middle of the street. I am so happy that you're interested in my suit, but please let me pass. That's really, really hard to say when you don't talk. So, handlers, they're important. The last little bit of information that I give about handlers is don't be lewd, don't be crude, don't make offensive gestures. This is more for people that are kind of college age, young adults. It's kind of, some people think it's funny. Let's be edgy, stuff like that. Don't do that with your fursuiter, especially if you're outside of con space.
Thank you.
You're welcome. When you're outside of con space like that, it may seem really, really funny to you and your friends and things like that, but you are dealing with people that are not your group of friends. And how you portray yourself, when you're the handler especially, the handler has to be the portrayal of what's going on, why are you here, who are these types of people. And so when you're the handler and you start speaking for the fursuiter, they look to you. If you start saying, if you start cursing, if you start flipping birds and doing that, the people around you are going to be like, oh, this isn't fun. These people are annoying and I don't like it. So it's really, really easy to get a bad rep. Really easy. Because if you start acting really annoying, people aren't going to like you around. Now, know your audience is important. In public, your audience is always G-rating. If you don't find that fun, I'm sorry, but it's just something where I promise you, if you act really nicely, your handler and you are just together and you're not doing anything that's super edgy or anything, your interactions are always so positive. And even the people that are college age and stuff are like, that is cool, yeah, woo! You can still have a lot of fun without doing stuff like that. So just be aware when you are the handler, you are speaking for your fursuiter. And people pay attention. There's so many stories where people go out and they're like, I did not have a good time out shooting, people didn't like it. And it's like, I wonder why. And you go look at kind of how the fursuiters act in the area, and they do stuff like that. Versus other ones where it's like, it's always so great, people love us when we come, there's children that adore us, I've had people that are like, "Are you thirsty? Have water." Random people that I don't know, like just people at restaurants are like, "Yes, have this thing. It's lovely," and it's because the people in our area, the people in our groups, make sure that even when we're having fun, we just make sure that it's public appropriate. Woo! So, that's basically it. Any questions? Yes.
My suitor is very stubborn and will not tell me when they need water or when they're overheating. Last night he gave himself a heat stroke because he would not tell me. Is there some way for me to tell when they're like, no, I'm just gonna do this?
It's a man thing.
So, in part, that's something to work out with your suitor. A good relationship with a handler is a partnership. So, while you do have to have, like, it's sometimes hard for handlers because it's one of those where it's like, I feel like I'm second fiddle. And, like, sometimes when you are the handler, you are. Because the point is the fursuiter's trying to have fun.
Yeah, we already live together, so I'm just like, and he wears several layers. He's got a partial, and so he had 4 hoodies on and does that the entire time. I'm like, honey, please. He had his head off, had heat stroke. I'm like, please, wait, let me take some of those hoodies. No!
Next year, the person running the panel that is affectionately named "Don't Do What I Did." It's a bad idea.
A remote thermometer might work.
Well, so there are certain things. If you'll stand up again, Luigi. Definitely, when your fursuiter starts getting so it has to be a partnership because at the end of the day, you can drag a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So it's kind of like that. If your fursuiter isn't listening to you when you're like, "Dude, you need water. You need to relax."
That's what happened last night.
Yeah,
right
there's not a lot you can do.
Tackle.
I touched you. You're protecting me. There you go. If they're not listening to you at all, then you need to work that out with them. And if you can't, maybe sometimes it's best to just be like, "Dude, I am not doing this with you because I don't want you to die, and you're not listening to me." So some things that you can see, if your fursuiter is just like, they get too into it. I've done that before where it's like, I'm having lots of fun, I'm getting super into this, I want to stay in suit forever. If they start to weave, so just kind of, well, not that bad. Not cartoon weaving. Yeah, so, yeah, if they're doing something like that, they have no energy anymore. If they're like dragging their feet, it looks like they can't pick their feet up anymore. If they start doing something like that, where they're rocking on their feet back and forth, that means they really do need to get out of suit. If you start seeing that, that is the time when I'm working with my suitor.
He's like, this sign, this is my, I have heat stroke sign. I'm like, we shouldn't
You have to take a very dominant position and go, look,
that's like,
now,
that's 5
stop.
steps past when you would have stopped.
I literally had to just rip some of his clothes off. I'm like, no, you're not dying. Not on my watch. Let's go get someone else to watch you die.
Anyway, yeah, that's when you get cut out of your suit at that point. So even when they first start getting sluggish, and you will notice a point, because if they're like super energetic, it's a lot easier. So like if he's being super energetic, it starts to kind of slow down a little bit, just a little bit, not more like, instead of just like, woo, yeah, I'm doing stuff all the time, it's more like, yeah. So when it starts to kind of be that slowdown, it's like, hey, now's a good time to take a break. You should have water. Another thing is you don't even have to look for their signs. A good time to take a break with fursuiting is 15 to 20 minutes. So just head off, get some water, and just having every 15 to 20 minutes or something like that. 30, if you after 30 minutes, you should just be like, let's get water. And just kind of push it. Because even if they're just like, I'm super into this, you can do something where it's like, hey, we're going to get water soon. And at least then they're like, this is time to wrap it up so I don't go die somewhere in a hole. Yes?
When I'm a handler, that negotiation may take place prior to working on it and it's non-negotiable. I'm going to be their handler if that happens first. When they get into headspace and they're actually interacting with others, they don't realize it's been 15 minutes. But you do, and it's your job to pull them aside and say, 15 minutes is time to go.
So yeah, again, it has to be a partnership. When I'm working with my handlers and they tell me we're going somewhere, then we're going somewhere. And they understand what I like to do when I'm in suit. They understand like what I like. So they're not gonna, it's a trust thing. I know they're not just gonna be like, I'm bored, I don't like this anymore, I don't care that you're having fun. When they're pulling me away, it's something where it's like, it's been too much time, we need to go, or I've seen something that I'm not comfortable with anymore. So like if we're out and about in the town and my handler sees a bunch more people come in, then she'll have a tendency to just be like, hey, we're gonna head out or something. And it's super subtle, so it's not telling the world like, hey, my fursuiter's tired, we're gonna leave. It's just something where it's like, we're gonna wrap things up here. I know where it's like, I'm prepared to leave now. So just being able to have, you have to have that trust and you have to have that partnership. If you really do have a fursuiter where you're like, we're gonna go get water, you need water, and they pull full stubborn, I wouldn't work with that person. I would be scared to death to work with that person because that would be the worst thing.
Luckily, we were sitting in the registration line and just,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you're slumped over. Are you okay? Do we need to go somewhere? Is there a headless lounge yet? Stay, honey. No.
There are two things that'll kill you, and I have done both. And I don't want to anymore. Registration line, because I've done it before where it's like, I'm here, I want a suit, I need to go get my badge really fast, but that'll be fine, it'll be 5 minutes. And then it's like, 5 hours later.
Yeah, we were there for 4 hours and
Yeah.
we couldn't get our badges because I needed a minor badge.
The first time I broke the magic at a con was because of reg line, because I just couldn't
Yeah,
take
I
it anymore.
think that's the only time he's ever done it.
Yeah, so there's that fursuit parade, which it's easier for smaller cons. I don't want to do it at AC anymore because it's a death march. And I will say this, AC is super, super nice. They take care of their fursuiters. They fully understand. They have so much water there when they're getting ready and everything, and they give you time counts. Everyone is super aware about this, but you still, if it is a really long line, you're in for a while. So if you're a handler, you may want to go in and just like kind of check in on them and stuff like that, because there's just a lot of people, and there's hyper aware people all around. Especially afterwards, the EMTs hang out in the fursuit rooms. Like I would just talk to EMTs all the time at NFF here, because they're super nice, and they just be like, yep, we're here, just in case. So it's really, really nice. Fursuit parades are awesome, but it is some of the hardest things to do as a suitor, because it is just being in suit for a long time with these big cons. Yes?
They see it's not just encouraging you to drink water. In the pursuit parade, they are ordering you.
Oh, yeah. So they will say, drink water, drink it now,
Yeah,
2
I
weeks.
will be up there. They are drinking water. If I am drinking water, we are all drinking water.
Yeah. So they're super good about it, but AC, because it is such a big con and just the way that parades work, where it's a long line and you're only as fast as the person in front of you, it's hard.
I do Renaissance Festival, so it's constricting everything. 10 layers. So I have a small understanding. Like, if I'm warm in what I'm wearing, and I wear very little at cons anymore, so like I overheat, then they're dead.
Yeah, no, it's rough. So, I mean, if you are a handler, they don't tend to let people in just because it's a lot of space, but just kind of know where it stops so you can check in afterward and just be like, when they venture out of the fursuit lounge.
I mean, I still have to legally be with them. We have another adult
nice.
with them right now. I'm the parent in tow.
Oh yeah, because they're under 18. So if you're not dealing with a minor, then yeah. Especially if you're dealing, it should not be a question of you get to be stubborn now.
Yeah, it was.
That's
like,
you don't
okay.
get to fursuit.
Okay, we're leaving the line here.
Yeah. So yeah, as far as that goes, definitely the biggest part of being a handler is having that partnership, working things out with your fursuiter, understanding like both positions, and being able to take that role where it's like, look, we gotta go now. Like, we're gonna go get some water, we're gonna go do this stuff. You don't get a choice anymore. And usually when you do have that partnership, it's super nice, where it's like, hey, you want water? And when my like handler asks that, then it's like, yeah, unless I know that I am super duper okay and I am 100%, then I'll say no. But that's, again, an understanding where I'm not saying no because it's like, I'm having fun. It's like, I am so totally okay. If you don't have that, it's hard to be a handler. If you have somebody that outright refuses to do that, I wouldn't be a handler for them. I just straight up, like, I'm sorry to that person, but if they did that to me, I'd tell them, I'm not doing this anymore.
I nearly did.
Yeah. Because again, that's the biggest point is handlers care. And it's so hard to care about somebody that doesn't want to care about themselves. Any other questions about handling and stuff like that? I forgot a thing. Animals, because I brought this up in the safety one. Avoid animals. If you are a handler, you want to keep an eye out for animals. Animals don't like fursuits. People have this idea that they will because look, it's a cute animal. Look, you guys are puppies. The puppy will love you. Even owners don't know how to see how their dog is feeling about something. They don't like fursuits. Fursuits stare and they're big. So when people think they're doing the I want to play, they're going up to a dog like, we're gonna fight. We're gonna fight. I'm gonna win. We're gonna fight. This is it. We're going down. Let's go. And dogs want to do two things. They'll either be like, I want to run, or I'm going to fight back. Generally, they want to be like, I want to run. I don't want anything to do with this. But if they're on a leash, especially if the owner isn't paying attention, they're like, no, it's okay. It's so cute. It's okay. It's fine. Come talk to the pen. They're just like, I don't want to do that.
Sometimes it does work out. Up in our lobby 3 years ago, a friend had his husky puppy, and I ended up being babysitter.
Yeah.
On the way out the front door, there was another dog suitor came over, and they said, "Want the cat and the rest of the stuff?" So we put the dog down. Next thing you know, the suitor gets down on all four, and then the dog gets in there and starts growling and barking, wagging his tail, goes over and chews on his arm, which is cute. Everyone's around there applauding. The dogs have great time because he's having fun. He was going in play mode. And the fursuiter's going and he's growling back at him, and everyone's having a great time.
So it
But
can...
there's that chance, like you said.
Well, it's not really a chance. So it is more likely that an animal is really not going to like what's going on. So I've dealt with plenty of dogs just because I go outside of the fandom areas so often. People have dogs, especially in Montana. There are lots of dogs around. And the vast majority of dogs, they're not super aggressive about it. But they are very, very clear in their body language of what you have going on over there, I don't want to be involved. You go do you, I'll do me, we're going to be separated. And if you can do that, so you don't want to come up to the dog where it's like, let's play with the puppy. If you're just like, you're cool, dog, you stay over there, we're going to be over here. If an owner is like dragging up their animal and you're a handler and you can see that this animal does not want to deal with this dog, it's the same for kids. Parents will do that where they're like, no, it's so cute. And the child's like, this is the traumatic event that I'm going to talk to a therapist about.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
I've had people do that to me and immediately, because my handler is a wonderful, wonderful person and I love her to death. She was just like, I'm sorry, we have to go. So it was just immediately cut that off because you don't want to deal with people or things that don't want to interact with you. So a lot of it is just reading body language and stuff like that. Animals, despite what people think, most of the time they don't want anything involved. Sometimes it's really, really fun. If you get that, the dog will tell you. The dog will be like, yeah, this is fun, let's play. And then it's like, all right, go for it. But if there is any indication where they're like, I'm not certain about this, don't be just like, dog! And shove it into the person's face. It's fun.
Bite, lacerations.
Yeah, they don't have a good time. Any other questions, comments, thoughts, feelings? Yes?
I was just going to comment on that too. Same goes for cats. They will make it pretty well known. And they have the claws so they can ruin your suit.
Yeah.
So my cats actually, my sister had a stuffed tiger at one point, and setting it next to them is enough to get them to growl and hiss and attack it.
My cat hates my head. If I move, so generally I put my head in a very particular spot. If I move it, my cat has, like, I put it on the bed before getting ready to pack. My cat jumps up on the bed and, like, smacks my head. Because she's really like, we're gonna fight now. I win.
Like, honestly, I think bunnies are the worst because like, oh, I need to say I'm this and just
Yeah.
spray.
Yeah.